plus science. Our 5 scientists have only a few short days left on their Mediterranean island to solve yet another set of brain-numbing challenges.
What will happen when they face the most basic challenge of all, to put food on the table?
So we've got to find it and catch it.
I'm sure we'll catch something.
And cook it. Any brainy ideas?
Oh, yeah, I think definitely a trip to the sea is in order.
And of course our hunter-gatherers will need to clean their teeth as well.
Toothpaste, toothbrushes, can we come up with something like that?
Seaweeds again.
Yeah. Seaweeds? Oh, God.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm sure I can find something to flavour it with too.
Oh, you can
Take away the seaweed.
It won't be quite so revolting.
And after enjoying their castaway cuisine, no way will they be allowed to escape doing the dishes.
Soap would also be a good thing, I think, don't you?
Yes, definitely.
Seaweed.
Hands.
No more
Seaweed soap. I could make some soap.
Do you?
Yeah, I've been
I
giving it
should
a bit
hope
of
so,
thought.
being you're a chemist.
No promises.
Soap. It sounds simple enough, but little does Mike suspect what he's letting himself in for.
And finally, I know we've all been missing music while we've been here, so I thought we might ask our building maestro, Dr. Hare, see if
CD
he can...
player.
Yes. Unfortunately, I haven't got any CDs. I have got a record. So can you do something with that? You could make a record player, couldn't you, Jonathan? Oh,
Oh, have a go.
You'd have a go.
Hang on though, what record is it? I might not want to hear it.
So, soap to do the dishes, toothpaste and music to accompany what we hope will be a banquet on our final day. And just 3 days to put it all together. The first job for Vanessa, our intrepid marine biologist, is to harvest some nutritious seaweed. She could survive on it if she had to, but it's also in her recipe for toothpaste. But searching for food along the shore of a Mediterranean island has certain limitations.
Because the tide doesn't move up and down, you can't explore a large area. Whereas in Britain, you can have a tidal range of sort of 8 or 9 metres. In the Mediterranean, everything is just at the water, so you either have to sort of get in and swim around looking for stuff, or you have to sort of risk life and limb clambering around on the rocks.
But the brisk sea breeze is good news for the wind-powered generator that Jonathan built last time. And our chemist Mike Bullivant has a cunning plan to use the electricity to help him make soap.
Great idea. If we take some salt water and make an electrolytic cell, I can produce hydrogen, chlorine and caustic soda.
The caustic soda will be a key ingredient, and zapping seawater with electricity to make it is a trick that industry has been using for more than 100 years.
It's all wired up. It's all wired up and it's ready to go, yeah.
It cost you though. You're such a capitalist.
3 olives an hour.
But our caustic chemical will need to react with some fat or plant oil to produce those soap molecules. And our plant expert Anna's already on the case, trying to get some olive oil using a special warm water technique.
So I've got a pulp of olives in here. I'm now going to put it in here, this great big jar, and I'm going to put the water in with the olive mixture and mix it around a bit. Knead it as I do it. And the idea is that the warm water will separate the oil from the other things that are, you know, being bashed out of the olives. And the olive oil should float to the surface, enabling me to skim it off.
And Jonathan's in thinking mode, brainstorming ideas for our record player.
I think that you have to be quite naive, really. You mustn't worry about whether the idea is right or wrong. You just put as many ideas as you can down. And it really does help to draw them, because when you actually see them on paper, you can see problems that you might not if you're just thinking in your head. That would work.
Here it is.
So how's the soap making coming along, and what about this electrolysis? I've come to see our chemistry wizard.
Powered up. See, what I've got is 2 graphite electrodes. These are from pencils.
Yeah.
Each one will be connected to Jonathan's windmill generator, generating electricity. Now, when we've powered this up, what we'll get at this electrode, we'll get sodium hydroxide forming.
If it works, that's the caustic chemical we'll need for our soap.
So sodium chloride in seawater turns into sodium hydroxide.
When electricity goes
When
through
electricity passes through the whole system.
Well, I'll be amazed to see that turned into soap, but...
All we need now is some wind. Vanessa's back from the coast with the first of her toothpaste ingredients.
I've got some gigatina in here, which is a red seaweed that I found. A lot of the red seaweeds in Britain, I know, give alginates when you boil them. I'm not sure whether this one is one that I'm not accustomed to, but I'm going to give it a go. Hopefully it'll make a nice jelly for the toothpaste. It's used in loads and loads of things like beer and yogurt and shampoos and stuff. It's edible. I might even feed it to them for the feast.
I can't say I really fancy seaweed for dinner, but Mike Leahy's promised to get us a fish with an improvised rod and reel.
This is good. It makes change from being stuck in the lab. It's a lot sunnier. You can see I've made it quite a big diameter, and it's got to pull in a fair bit of line on every turn, or it's really going to be an absolute failure. And then the final bit, the guide, the line will go through this loop to make sure that it actually goes on the reel. It doesn't go off the side of it. That's not as bad as I thought.
It's mid-afternoon and Anna's done her bit for the soap and got us a supply of olive oil. But our chemist's in trouble. The wind's dropped, the windmill generator's barely turning, and there's no sign of caustic soda.
Oh, it's so gloopy, it's just all jelly. It's brilliant.
Our toothpaste ingredients: finely ground seashells to make a calcium-based abrasive powder, and Anna's mint oil flavour enhancer.
I'll take these big bits out because I think they might be a little bit too abrasive. Abrasive is one thing and pulling your gums off is another.
And for a kinder, gentler abrasive, finely ground vegetable charcoal.
So it needs to be mostly the sort of abrasive ingredient, then a little bit of flavouring, oil, and just enough of the seaweed alginate to bind it together, basically, doesn't it? I don't really know how much I need. Let's put a little bit in at first.
Looks interesting.
It looks great, doesn't it? Dead useful stuff.
Wonderful.
Perfect toothpaste, I reckon.
Yes.
All I need now is a little bit of flavouring in there. Can I use a little bit of your peppermint oil?
Smell it.
Oh, it smells lovely.
Nice colour.
What's floating on the top? I'll just
I hope it's going to mix
stir it in a bit. Oh, that gives it a great colour.
What we should be seeing is little bubbles, isn't it? Little bubbles of gas forming on the electrodes, I imagine.
But nothing's happening, and Mike's beginning to doubt Jonathan's power supply.
Well, see if the windmill's going.
Yeah, it is going round, Mike, but it's a bit erratic and sort of blustery, so I think if we leave it on all night or something, we'll see what's...
Sure, we're going to have to, aren't we? Yeah.
Mike's only hope: leave it online and pray for a windy night. And I'm about to become a guinea pig for the homemade toothpaste and Anna's disposable toothbrushes.
Mark 1, we do have another variety here. This is a piece of myrtle bush.
And this one's pine needles, is it?
Uh-huh.
Is everyone going to try this? I'm not going to be the only one to
No,
try.
I think you should be the first.
Right. Here we are. This is our toothpaste ad.
Still, I've got a spare setback.
It's not bad, is it?
Very good.
You got the right stuff. You look at
What?
You look like you've been eating licorice.
I've been eating charcoal.
Oh, you poor chap. But it doesn't taste too bad, does it?
It tastes very pleasant.
It doesn't taste like
What do I do with these?
I don't know. Where's the smell?
Oh, look at you. You look evil.
Now,
As the sun sets on our first day, one final job for Mike: putting his Fred Flintstone rod to the test. And no hint of the storm that's heading our way.
our windmill and left it with a pile of rubbish.
Oh no, look at Mike's coil.
Mike asked for wind, and he got wind. An overnight gale has put Jonathan's windmill well and truly out of action.
We'll leave you alone.
Yeah, you just sit and contemplate. It's okay.
While Jonathan mourns, Mike's picked himself up and come up with another way to get that vital caustic solution.
Well, haven't you supposed to be making soap, not mucking around with coal?
This will be soap after a few steps.
Is it going to coal?
He's decided to try an ancient soap-making technique.
This stuff is ash from the fires that we've been having. It's been steeped in water for a few hours, and we filter off the solid bits. And
Yeah.
you can see what we get is this mucky. I think there's still a lot of small ash particles in there, so we've got to filter it off the solid through a much more efficient process. This is sand in here. It comes out clearer. So we've got potassium carbonate, that's what we want.
Right.
And then that's too dilute a solution of potassium carbonate and water. So we take it over here, put it on the fire and just reduce it down. So we're making it more and more concentrated. But the magical thing, Kate, is the potassium carbonate has been reacting with the water to form potassium hydroxide now. So potassium hydroxide is the chemical that we want to start. It's one of the starting materials for our soap.
Aha, so there is method in your madness.
And that's not crazy after all.
With our hoped-for banquet just a day away and having had no luck with his rod, Mike Leahy's adding to his arsenal. An amateur archer, he's planning a bow and arrow to harpoon a fish. Still working on the entertainment system, Jonathan's come up with an ingenious source of power: gravity.
If we wind lots of turns and have a weight, then as this weight falls, it's going to undo the wire and move this pulley round. So we're using weight.
But there's one little problem.
The trouble is, when things fall under gravity, they accelerate. In other words, they pick up speed all the time. And we don't want that, because we want the turntable and everything to be at constant speed. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to arrange something around here with a bit of friction, so that we're balancing the force of gravity with the friction on here. And when that's balanced, the weight should fall with constant speed, which will turn the pulley with constant speed, which will then turn the turntable with constant speed.
So just drop it in the bottom, yeah? Yeah.
Not to be outdone by Mike Leahy, Vanessa and I have knocked up a homemade lobster pot from an old cage and some twigs.
Fantastic, and just lower it in now.
Oh! Ready? Yeah! There it goes! So what do you reckon our chances are? Do you think we're going to get one?
I'd really like to say yes, but we can't really leave it any more than 24 hours.
No.
It looks pretty swelly and rough down here. I mean, we come back tomorrow, see if there is anything, and, well, see how it goes.
And that helps the process along. So what I'll do is tip in.
Awfully slow progress back at the soap factory. But it's finally time to combine the caustic solution from the wood ash and Anna's olive oil.
I'm pouring gently so we only get the clear top layer of the olive oil.
Okay.
And you whisk it as it goes in.
Keep whisking?
Keep whisking, yeah.
So what are we looking for, actually?
What we're looking for is a froth forming on the top.
Okay.
When the two elements start reacting
really
with each
mix
other,
and
the
react.
two components
I
start
see.
reacting with each other. I mean, this could take a long time.
Well, I'll never take soap for granted again. Meanwhile, Mike's tree's slowly turning into a bow.
I've marked a rough shape on, and now I'm shaving it down to that shape with this spoke shave. But if a bowyer saw me, he'd have 40 pairs, I'm sure. Well, the longbow has been reported to be the first instrument man's made that can store a steady input of energy, in other words, when you draw the bow, but release it in an almost explosive way so that it can rapidly propel an arrow. I mean, the arrow that leaves the bow's got no more energy than the man put in, but it's converted that energy.
Well, the way we're dealing with forces and energy in this record player is completely different to that of Mike with his bow. We've got a lot of energy, or a lot of potential energy, because we've got a heavy weight, but we're actually releasing it very, very slowly. So it's a complete other end, if you like, the other side of the coin. And the bow needs a short, sharp shock. And here we need to use our energy very carefully so that we can make the turntable revolve for as long as possible.
An hour later, they're still stirring. But is that elusive chemical reaction going to happen?
I'm not too optimistic. We should have had a froth by now.
Oh, what a shame.
Perhaps what we've done is added too much olive oil.
Do you think so?
So the soap saga continues.
I tell you what, can you put your foot on there as well, and I'll stand back and have a look at it?
Back from the sea, I've been roped in to help our very own Robin Hood.
Yeah, a bit more, Kate. Yeah, it's just bending in that one weak place, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I've got to take loads more up here.
So why does it matter that it's bending in one weak spot?
Well, really, you want the whole of the wood to bend, because it's only the wood that's bent that stores any energy you can release later. At the moment, only that piece is doing any work.
Right.
So that's the first problem. It's nowhere near as powerful as it should be, because if this bit bends, the rest is doing nothing. But the worst thing is, with a weak spot there, if you draw that, because obviously that's bending a heck of a lot and the rest of it's barely bending, it'll snap. So we've got to make it so that it bends equally.
Mike's latest soap recipe, baking crushed seashells to produce lime to kickstart the reaction. But things have gone horribly wrong.
We were crushing the shells in an aluminium saucepan that we'd found, and we put it in this kiln, and what I'd overlooked was the fact that aluminium melts at a temperature which is much lower than this kiln. So all the aluminium pot has melted, and as you see, it's running out here.
Proof that even scientists get it wrong sometimes.
Right, now I'm stringing the bow.
Meanwhile, Mike's made some modifications.
I'm hoping that when I put it on the tiller, so to check to see how it bends, it'll be a little bit more uniform. Okay, the bow still isn't fully strung because I don't trust it. But now at least both ends are bending. And it's not just bending in the weak point. So I might give it a test firing. Right, here goes. Well, the arrow looked like it's made of a banana.
I don't care what it looks like, as long as it gets us some fish for tomorrow's banquet. It's the end of day 2, and Jonathan gives his turntable a trial run.
Clean it up. This goes on here, turntable. Turntable is connected by bands to this pulley, and this pulley is connected to the piece of wood with all the string wound round it, and that goes all the way up to a pulley with some weight on it. And when that comes down, it will pull the string with it, which will move it all. As you can see, it's all moving. And then I've got a yogurt pot with a needle on it. Any
So the
particular
cups you're working as your amplifier, basically?
That's the pickup, yeah. So if I put this on here, we should be able to hear a track.
You can hear it. You can hear it?
That is brilliant.
But will we really want to listen to that during our meal?
There you go.
That's
Fantastic.
brilliant.
Hooray!
Our last day dawns. Time to go hunter-gathering for our banquet.
Right, let's see if our lobster... see whether it's been working or not.
It isn't looking too promising.
Nothing. Not even a nibble at our little fish. Is there nothing? Not even a little fish in there, is there? No.
Will Mike and his harpoon deliver? Oh well, there's always seaweed. And vegetables.
Oh, there it is. A wild carrot.
Carrot? Forget the lobster, what about some crabs?
Got it. Have you got it? No. Oh, no!
Lost the arrow.
Poor old Mike. He really should get out more. All alone back at the prison, it's his final shot at the chemical reaction needed for our soap. He's given up on the shells and gone back to his wood ash solution. But this time, he wants to make sure he's got the purest possible ingredients to get that reaction going. So, he's redesigned his apparatus, and this new charcoal filter just could be the answer. And this time, his filtered wood ash is looking crystal clear. it might just work.
That's about 2/3 and a third. Is that about right?
And it's now or never for the soap. Will our purified wood ash finally react with our olive oil?
What we've got to do is super clean stick, do a lot of whisking.
So all these kind of complicated processes and ingredients that you've gone through, are these all vital to make soap work properly?
Oh, absolutely. It's such a precise process. Even the temperature of the water, if we go above boiling water in this water bath, there's a good chance that we might ruin it. You know, it's super sensitive.
How does it actually work?
What, soap?
Yeah.
Well, the soap molecule, or the active ingredient in the soap, it's kind of got a dual personality. If you think of a tadpole, right, with a head at one end and a long tail, if you've got a glob of grease here, or be a glob of grease, the tail is soluble in the grease, but the head isn't. And the head is soluble in water, and the tail isn't. So the tail will the tadpole will bury its tail into the grease ball. So what's happening at the other end, the grease becomes surrounded by all of the heads of the tadpoles.
Yeah.
You know? Like cloves in an orange.
Yeah.
So the head is soluble in water, dissolves in water, and it will just take the grease away.
It's clever stuff, isn't it?
It is clever stuff, yeah.
It's going to be crispy fried seaweed. I'm just picking the juiciest bits off the seaweed, keeping all the horrid woody bits.
This wasn't quite what I had in mind when I ordered a banquet.
This is going to be the base of our soup. I'm going to add some sprigs of rosemary and the final ingredient, some little crabs. Nice. All that's in there now is some nettles. And some little rosemary.
And how's our chemist faring? After all his trials and tribulations, he may just be onto a winner.
Just look at that. I'm really proud of that. That is soap forming in there.
Come and get it! It's the end of day 3 and our island banquet is served. And Mike's kept his promise and delivered a fish, even if he had to scoop it out of a rock pool.
Right. On tonight's menu, we have toasted pine nuts, crispy seaweed and fruits of the sea, crab and nettle soup, rock samphire pickle, and tree strawberry jelly. Let's eat.
Well, we thought that these scallop shells would make quite good spoons for the soup.
All that hard work. I don't mind, I'll stay up here.
Pretty good.
We quite like it though. Really good.
Anna?
Don't die on us, Mike.
Did you shoot these?
Have we got any salt?
I made some salt out of some evaporated seawater. And there's also some pepper there from seaweed. What do you think of the crispy seaweed?
It looks like
Looking
the
good,
contents of a moped's exhaust system after somebody's put too much oil in it.
You know the seaweed is disgusting.
Kate, how'd you get the little shell?
Rock samphire.
Rock samphire, yeah.
It's mentioned in Shakespeare, I think, King Lear.
Yes, he said it was a very
Yeah! Dip it in your pickle.
Oh, look. Look, it's really snail-like.
Go on, be brave. Big tough boy.
No, that's a shot.
Still in there. So I go and chew then.
I think I'll stick lots of vinegar on it.
Time for our musical entertainment.
It's one of you two's earlier here. It's a slow record. It's a 33 revs a minute. It's hard to keep that steady.
And to round things off, Vanessa's special dessert.
Seaweed jelly with tree strawberries.
Castaway liquid soap.
All good things come to an end, and all that's left is the washing up. Time to put Mike's homemade soap to the ultimate test.
Is it forming a lather?
No, it's working. It's working. The grease is definitely coming off here.
You've got to do something. There's the odd bubble.
Yeah, it depends on the state of the water as well, if it's hard water.
Excuses, excuses.
Rough Science continues at PBS Online. Point your browser to pbs.org.